We're looking for our day in court. You know, this was a bond hearing, you know, expectations of this bond hearing where it was at. But we're looking to go to the district court before the real judge, and then, not saying she's not a real judge.
No, I know.
Right, just go before the real judge. And
the
then
trial judge.
The trial judge, and then let him hear our case and see what he said about it.
How's your son holding up?
Oh, he's strong, focused. You see the smile that was on his face, both during the time and afterwards of her ruling. He's still smiling, he's still strong. He's standing on his faith, you know, and believing that God will make a way for him.
To point out basically how the media operates, and I'm gonna take a shot at the shade room, right? Because I have to. Right here, right? Durk denied bail again. He smiled at a crowd of 20 supporters as he was remanded, right? And then you have where it gets interesting. Federal judge denies Lil Durk's bond request. Then it says update. Lil Durk's attorneys have filed a motion in LA asking for him to be released on home detention secured by $2.3 million in equity in 2 homes in Georgia and $1 million in cash from Sony Music. Then right here on the bottom part, it says news. The FBI has linked Chicago rapper Lil Durk to a second murder for hire plot that allegedly took place in Chicago in 2022. According to records reviewed by the Tribune, Durk's detention hearing on his other case is later today in LA, right? Now, if you look at the times on this, right? This is where I'm having a time of my life having to correct a bunch of stuff. This says 4 hours ago. Banks is a devoted father, husband, and son, as well as an internationally renowned musician, the defense writes, especially in the last decade of his life. He has demonstrated a genuine resolve to publicly advocate for improving underserved communities and stopping the violence. The feds, meanwhile, revealed in a filing today that Lil Durk allegedly offered a bounty to kill a family member of a witness. The cite an exhibit that was filed under seal. Then it says right here again, update. Lil Durk's attorneys have filed a motion in LA asking for him to be released on home detention secured by $2.3 million in equity in 2 homes in Georgia for $1 million in cash from Sony Music. Then right here again on the bottom part, it says the FBI has linked Chicago rapper Lil Durk to a second murder for hire plot that allegedly took place in Chicago in 2022, according to records reviewed by those. The Tribune. Lil Durk's detention hearings on his case is later on today. They're acting like this is today, because if you look right here, it says Durk was denied bond again regarding his murder for hire case. If you recall, in December, his team filed a motion asking to have him released on home detention secured by a $2.3 million in equity in 2 homes in Georgia and $1 million in cash from Sony Music. This is the reason why we don't go to major platforms anymore. Right here, you can see last 4 hours ago, none of this crap exists. 6 hours ago, none of the stuff. 6 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 8 hours ago, 8 hours ago, 8 hours ago, 20 hours ago. So as you can see, that is not updated. Let's get back into it. And it's no shade at the shade room. It's just, you know, y'all need to be here for that real. Anyways, so you had that happen. And then you have Mo Gannat, Lawyers for Workers. I like half the stuff he does. He's very pro celebrity. I'm going to just put it that way. He's very pro celebrity, whether celebrity lawyer or celebrity in general, like what he said with Tory Lanez, where he was wrong on that one. And he was wrong about the Tony Busby situation. But on this one, I don't think he's wrong. Let's take a look.
Update on Lil Durk. He had his bond hearing today. He looked good. He looked like he was in good spirits. No crazy weight gain or anything like that. He looked good. The judge was on the same vibes she was on last time, which is that, wait, they're saying murder for hire. They're saying you put bounties up. They're saying you ordered the shooters. They're saying the shooters shot. I'm saying that's going to be no bond. There's basically no argument you can make to this judge in a murder for hire case to get a bond. The one silver lining for the defense is that the prosecution's case has taken 2 major hits. One, the prosecution has had to abandon their allegation that he rapped and celebrated about this murder, that he put these lyrics out talking about, oh yeah, I got you, you out here screaming no, no, crying in the street. prosecution had to back away from that allegation. It was proven false. They need that allegation, and now they're not going to be able to have it. The other allegation they backed away from, which is huge, it shows the weakening of the case. Previously, the prosecution had alleged that Durk paid the bounty for the death through one of his co-defendants, and they named the co-defendant. Now they've backed off that allegation. They're not actually saying that Durk paid the bounty through the co-defendant or anyone else. And the fact that they're not saying that suggests that previously they thought they were going to be... Update on Lil Durk. He had his bond hearing today. He looked good. He looked like he was in good spirits. No crazy weight gain or anything like that. He looked good. The judge was on the same vibes she was on last time, which is that, wait, they're saying murder for hire. They're saying you put bounties up. They're saying you ordered the shooters. They're saying the shooter shot. I'm saying that's going to be no bond. There's basically no argument you can make to this judge in a murder for hire case to get a bond. The one silver lining for the defense is that the prosecution's case has taken two major hits. One, the prosecution has had to abandon their allegation that he rapped and celebrated about this murder, that he put these lyrics out talking about, oh yeah, I got you, you out here screaming no, no, crying in the street. Prosecution had to back away from that allegation. It was proven false. They need that allegation, and now they're not going to be able to have it. The other allegation they backed away from, which is huge, it shows the weakening of the case. Previously, the prosecution had alleged that Durk paid the bounty for the death through one of his co-defendants, and they named the co-defendant. Now they've backed off that allegation. They're not actually saying that Durk paid the bounty through the co-defendant or anyone else. And the fact that they're not saying that suggests that previously they thought they were going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy, and now they know we're not going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy, and so they took it.
So here we go right here. United States District Court, Central District of California. Minutes, detention hearing, review / reconsideration of bail, detention order, Nibia hearing, and then here you go right here. Patricia Donahue. We probably gonna have to do some deep digging on her to see what's going on, because some I'm just not liking right now. And essentially, it's what the next slide, well, not the next slide, but the slide after me will be saying, right? So yeah, basically we go down and we can see review reconsideration of bail, detention order, bond hearing, and then it says plaintiff's defendant request for review, reconsideration, bond, detention order had a request is denied, basically. And just like that, just like that. I'm not laughing at Durk or anything like that, but it's just that simple, just that fast. So I'll probably put it at the end, but we have exactly what the people had wrote for the detention as far as the security company. So just bear with me real quick. So this right here is defendant Durk Banks' notice of filing of Exhibit B, memorandum in support of application for reconsideration of detention order. Durk Banks, through his attorneys Drew Phelan, Marissa Goldberg, Jonathan M. Berryman, and Christy O'Connell, hereby files Exhibit B attached hereto in support of Mr. Banks' memorandum in support of application of reconsideration of detention order, docket number 137, and then basically dated May 7, 2025. I was going to put this out when it dropped, to be fair, but I just was like, nah, because it dropped yesterday. As Drew basically, I don't want to say he was presumptuous, but we just seen that he got denied. Let me show you what the security company said. Exhibit B. Scroll over. Dear Honorable Judge, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing you in response to your concerns regarding the potential risk associated with allowing a high-profile individual to have the freedom of movement while under bond. As an established security agency with experience in residential security, I would like to outline the processes and procedures that can be implemented to ensure compliance with any court-ordered restrictions for this individual. To begin, it is paramount to establish a protocol that directly addresses the court's restrictions. Our company can provide a dedicated security team to monitor and enforce these limitations effectively. Here are some recommended procedures we would implement. Clear protocol development. Before assuming the responsibility of security, we will work closely with relevant legal authorities, including your court, to understand the specific restrictions imposed. This will include a comprehensive review of any limitations on movement, communication, or interactions. Access control. The security team will manage access to the residence, ensuring that the only authorized individuals are permitted entry. We can implement visitor logs, ID verification processes, and restricted access within the property to maintain a controlled environment. Surveillance measures. Security cameras and monitoring systems within and around the property will allow for real-time oversight. Recorded footage can serve as documentation to support compliance with the court's directives. Regular reporting. Our security personnel will provide regular reports detailing the activities of the individual, including any suspicious behaviors that may indicate a potential violation of court-ordered restrictions. This reporting can be tailored to your requirements, ensuring timely communication with the court or designated authorities. Then here you go right here, page 3 of 3. Incident response protocol. In the event that the individual attempts to violate any restrictions, our team is trained to follow specific response protocol. This would include documenting the incident, thoroughly notifying law enforcement if necessary, and immediately informing the court or authority of any violations observed. In conclusion, our company is prepared to implement these recommendations and establish a cooperative relationship with the court to ensure that the individual adheres strictly to all imposed restrictions. Our ultimate goal is to provide a safe, secure environment for the individual and his family while safeguarding the rights and conditions established by the court to remain compliant. If you have any further questions or would like to discuss specific aspects of our approach to residential security, please feel free to reach out. Sincerely, Michael, President, RSEC Group. Now. He did help clear up something. There was no bounty paid. So Drew Finland saying what he said, either we took it wrong, I heard it wrong, or he wrote it wrong, and that's not what he meant. So I'll take the blame for that one. That's what I'll do. I'll take the blame for that one and say, I guess he said paid bounty or that the bounty wasn't paid, because somebody who essentially is telling, this is how I took it. Somebody who's telling basically told the feds, hey man, Lil Durk paid us. We got paid. And the feds basically looking like, yeah, all right, we're going to add that in there. We got that in there. All right, now that we got the freaking bounty, yeah. And Drew feeling like, where's the proof? Where's the evidence that it was paid for? And the feds probably spun the beans and was like, hey, so yeah, like what documentation you got exactly? We already had the text messages and the credit cards and all that, so it had to be a bounty paid, right? And next thing you know, the feds like, damn, bro, I don't think we got that proof. And for y'all who will say, well, the feds don't get it wrong, you sure? Because the feds were pounding the pavement and pushing that pen to say that the lyrics were directly used to profit off of Quando Rondo's death. So anybody who would disagree with the point I made there, let me ask you the simple question. Then how the hell did the feds get it wrong with the lyrics and say that the lyrics were actually by Durk and put in the Quando Rondo screaming part in there when that actually didn't happen, which ultimately they dropped? That's what I believe happened there. So people who are preaching doom and gloom and all this stuff like 600, saying that Drew Finland is taking that money from that man, I gotta ask 600 this simple question. If you had the money to pay for the best lawyer in the country to fight for your life, would you not? Forget how innocent or guilty a person may be. Would you not, if you were in that same situation, not pay the best lawyer? You already $30 million up. You telling me that 5 mil, 7 mil that he's charging right now, that ain't worth it? Huh. I would think it is, because for your freedom damn near, if you got a chance to beat it slim at best, if you want to put it there, you pay the price. If you got money, then what's the point of having money? You're not going to use money. Durk ain't about to give a damn about none of this other stuff. Bro got music and videos recorded and all that crap that's gonna come out. God forbid if he gets found guilty. Now, let me say this. If Durk actually did this, because there's this stigma that's around that Seti Nash is just rooting for Durk because Durk is guilty and whatever, and he just whatever. And if that's what you want to believe it. I'm not gonna fight you on that. But I just don't believe they have the freaking evidence to actually do it. Y'all find it easy to believe the feds. Why I don't? Why I don't? Pardon me. I just don't, and I won't. So pardon me if I don't want to believe the feds and I want to see the proof. But if Durk actually did do this and they got real concrete proof that he did this, then he did it to himself, and F him. It is what it is. You cannot put yourself in stupid situations and not have me say, bro, that was pretty stupid. Bro, that was pretty dumb. You put yourself in a dumb situation, and next thing you know, you get dumb consequences. If he did this, that's on him. Because at a certain point in time, you got to know who was in the right and who was in the wrong. This is all King Von's fault, regardless of anything anybody say or anything like that. This started over two brides, a baby mama and a bride that ain't nobody baby mama that look weird as hell right now in the face. Y'all was fighting essentially over that. King Von ain't understand the rules of the South. And since he ain't understand the rules of the South, you put your hands on somebody, you're more than likely going to be leaving in a black bag. And that's unfortunately what happened to him. But it's funny how people on the West Coast and Midwest, how everybody can say, oh man, yeah, he should have did this and should have did that. Bruh, if this happened in the hood somewhere, ain't that what happens? Ain't that what happens? I think, once again, King Von underestimated Quando Rondo and thought to himself, oh, this is a little dude, I'm just going to punch him. Just like Quando Rondo been telling y'all before, y'all got people, he got people too. And in the South, they pack way more than they do in Illinois and than they do in California. So those stupid mindsets that people have in Illinois and California, bruh, it don't work in the South. In the South, there is no clip capacity. Every gun damn near gets to be carried, especially in a state like Georgia. So, hey, man, if Durk was dumb enough to crash out and do all that BS and it's proven, bruh, he got what he deserved. When you play street games, you win some, you lose some. And sometimes you lose your life. You can lose it behind bullets and BS on the street, or you can lose it behind that gavel and a bunch of people who don't look just like you. So it is what it is. And for y'all asking for a Tyree Nichols video, bro, once I realized the jury was all white, I knew what time it was. But because I don't want to come off as negative, it just is what it is. Y'all got to remember, it's Memphis. It ain't your city. It ain't the white people who live where you live. This is Memphis. It's different. Bruh. The cops already got found guilty in the federal trial. The federal trial, they were waiting on sentencing or waiting for the results of whatever happened with the state trial. So I don't know what y'all want me to say, what y'all want me to do. I think some of y'all expect me to get up here and lie. I'd rather just not say nothing, unfortunately. But some of y'all be like, man, well, nah, you should have said something anyways. Would that have been what you wanted to hear during that trial? It just is what it is. But like I said, I figured Durk wasn't going to get a bond once the feds just went ahead and said, we're not going to sit up here and argue with you about these damn lyrics in this court for about the next 60 minutes. Because once again, Drew already had two things that were already for Lil Durk. What do you mean? See how Mo didn't talk anything about the plane tickets and all that crap? So if Drew's already saying this about the tickets and Drew has already basically got the lyrics, all he needed was one more thing, and I'm 100% sure that judge went ahead and would have went ahead and said, all right, cool. But maybe not, because the judge basically said, from what Mo said, ain't nothing changed. He's still accused of paying people. Accused of putting a bounty on somebody's head, not paying somebody. So he's still accused of the bounty part. Did you find any evidence that says that he wasn't putting bounties on people or that it's muddy in the waters? No, so since you ain't get that done, all right, cool. I can't really let him out because he's still a danger to society regardless of what anybody may think. And at that point in time, from what the judge is finding out, I guess. But if we can, man, can we get this video to 4K likes? If we do, you know, we might do something special. So watch that like button counter. And then after you do that, I just need somebody to put 4K. It has to be. Now, don't sit up here and 5 minutes into the video after it's been played and somebody go, yeah, 4K. Because I did say 5K, but 4K, like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. It has to be as soon as it hits 4K likes. Good luck. Good hunting. But if you want to catch up with everything else while you're waiting on this video to run up the likes, hit right here to get caught up on everything else.